Hi Trace, it's Roberto. It's Thursday night Asian session. We don't have a trade room open, but I just wanted to send out this analysis on a couple of pairs. Let's first start with Euro Australian dollar. The market's been extremely in a consolidation period in the past few days. You notice we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days where the market pretty much has been in a standstill. And what it's done, it's created this almost like this head and shoulder pattern on a daily chart. Notice a couple of things. MACD lines on MACD are crossing to the downside. Histogram is below the zero line. That's one thing. We do have higher highs. The market is still in an uptrend, but we don't have we have higher lows. The market's still in an uptrend, but we don't have a higher high any longer. We have a lower high, and it's created this head and shoulder pattern. This is the neckline. The potential for profit is about 564 pips. That's the bottom of the neckline to the top of the head. If market does break below this and closes below this neckline, then the market technically projected range is about 135 level. That's a pretty good drop. Now, we have non-farm payroll numbers coming out tomorrow, and I'm not sure if it will affect the Euro Aussie or the Pound Aussie, but this is what's happening right now. Clear head and shoulder pattern potential. Remember, head and shoulder pattern is not really head and shoulder pattern until it breaks the trend line, and that's what I'm looking for the market to do. The other trade setup is a Pound Aussie, very identical to what we see on the Euro Aussie dollar. Again, this is a daily chart. Two lines on MACD are crossing to the downside. Histogram below the zero line, and the same setup. Now all we need is for a break below this trend line, this neckline of the head and shoulder pattern. There's also a couple of other setups. If we look at the 4-hour chart, we have divergence. Let me just make this a lot smaller. Here is two lines. Swing points are going higher, and the wave patterns on MACD that line up with the swing points are going lower, hence divergence. Technically, the way divergence typically works is that it first breaks a swing point, which it has here, and then it retraces back up to about a 61% retracement level, which is here, before it turns around and heads south. The other scenario, that it breaks this trend line and it continues, and that would be the projected range would be from the swing high to the swing low, which is about, see how many pips that is, about 500 pips. That's the projected range. If it breaks, it manages to break this trend line. It looks pretty good. Daily chart, we have head and shoulder pattern. We have a head and shoulder pattern also on the 4-hour chart. We also have divergence set up. Okay, go back to the Euro Aussie. Let's look on the 4-hour chart. And we have head and shoulder pattern. We also have divergence on the 4-hour chart. Here are the swing points. The wave patterns are lower, where price is essentially the same. It hasn't really moved. Went back up to the previous resistance level, and it just turned around and went south. Now it's found support, and if price manages to break the main pivot point on the 4-hour chart, expect price to go back up to the 61% retracement level, which happens to be a pivot point. That would be a great entry. Also, it's a previous resistance level here. The other scenario, that if it breaks the trend line, then we would go short, completing this divergence setup. Market's already in a downtrend, and we would target the number of pips from this swing low to the swing high. Okay, that's it. Tomorrow we have non-farm payroll. We're meeting with Walter Peters at 8 o'clock. Please log on early so you don't get kicked out. We expect a huge turnout, and have a good weekend.